Hi guys, this is Abel Anders of Tech, and today we're sharing with you our hands-on review of the Huawei P9 Plus along with its controversial Leica co-engineered optics. Let's go! The Huawei P9 and the P9 Plus were first announced in London last April, with the Chinese company revealing their collaboration with the German company Leica for the dual rear camera of their new flagship phones. In the past couple of months, we've had a good time with both the Huawei P9 and the P9 Plus to give you a better picture of what this smartphone is really capable of. Between the two, the P9 Plus is the slightly bigger and better of the two handsets. They sport the same processing chip and camera setup, but the P9 Plus has a few additional features not found in the P9. But before we get into those tiny differences, let's take a closer look at the P9 Plus first. With a 5.5-inch display, the P9 Plus is among the few plus-sized flagship smartphones like the iPhone 6s Plus, the Galaxy S7 Edge, and the Xperia Z5 Premium to name a few. It comes with an all-metal and glass body in a thin and sleek frame that's only 7mm thick. It feels solid on the hands with a certain level of heft that has that cold stainless steel feel to it. The brushed metal finish around the corners extend towards the back, only to be cut along the sides with chamfered edges. The all-glass front panel is protected by Gorilla Glass 4 that slightly curves toward the edges. It feels good on the hands, has a nice, good grip to it, and fits just about right. Although there will be times that handling it with one hand can be a bit unwieldy and slippery. In terms of design and construction, one can really see the attention to detail and the subtlety, just like that textured surface of the power button on the right side with a crimson red ring around its chamfered edges as a toast to the Leica partnership. Even the volume rocker just above it also has a detailed chamfered edges. Turn it around the top and you will see the noise cancelling microphone beside the IR blaster that's only present on the P9 Plus and not on the P9. On the left side is the SIM card slot, which holds two SIM trays allotted for a nano SIM and a micro SD card, or two SIM cards at the same time. At the bottom end is the speaker grills flanking the USB Type-C port and the 3.5mm audio port with the primary microphone on the opposite side. The 5.5-inch display features a Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen with Full HD 1080p resolution and a 72.4% screen-to-body ratio. The display is crisp and bright with rich blacks and generously saturated and vivid colors. We didn't see any benefit of a Quad HD display, and the 1080p is actually more than enough for this size. Besides, it also helps extend battery life. There are two visible antenna bands on the top and bottom corners that stretches all the way to the back. Speaking of the back panel, there's a black glass section on the upper corner of the device that houses the dual 12-megapixel cameras, the dual-tone LED flash, along with a huge Leica marking. The label Sumarit H1 is a 2.227 ASPH has a technical meaning to it. Sumarit is a series name for Leica lens. It's the third of a series of 6, starting with Elmar, Elmarit, Sumarit, Sumicron, Sumilux, and Noctilux that comes with their respective speed category or aperture opening. H marks the exclusive lens series for Huawei, with each lens having an f2.2 aperture and a 27mm focal length. ASPH refers to the aspherical lens surface, but more on this later. Right in the middle is the fingerprint scanner for locking and unlocking the device. It's been one of the top features that Huawei always include in almost all of its mid-range and high-end devices. Inside this beautiful device is a homegrown high-silicon Kirin 955 chip, the fastest chip produced by Huawei today. It has an octa-core processor with two quad-core clusters. One is a Cortex A53 running at 1.8 GHz, and the other set is the high-performing Cortex A72 running at a top speed of 2.5 GHz. The chip is paired with 4 GB of fast DDR4 RAM. Expect really good performance with this combo. Synthetic benchmarks like Antutu gave it a score of over 95,000, although that's nowhere near the Snapdragon 820 levels. But you will never really see or feel any difference based on actual daily daily use. All in all, the P9 Plus performed very well and handled anything we threw at it. Even with multitasking, we didn't experience any lags or delays when switching between apps and games. Gaming experience is spot on with Gods of Rome and NBA 2K16 running pretty smoothly. The speakers at the bottom end is really good and loud enough for music or movie playback. However, because of its placement, we tend to cover it with our palm when holding the device horizontally while playing games, which ends up muting down the sound. The device runs on Android 6.0 Marshmallow with Huawei's own Emotion UI 4.1 layered on top. It's clean and simple, but not really the best looking one out there. Basically a personal taste, and you can always download your favorite home launcher of your choice from the Google Play Store. As we mentioned earlier, what makes the Huawei P9 Plus unique from the other smartphones today lies in its imaging department, which has been co-engineered with Leica. The handset features a dual 12-megapixel rear cameras, but with different BSI CMOS sensors. One with RGB while the other has a monochrome sensor. What the monochrome sensor supposedly does is achieve better detail and depth out of the images and combine those with a colored photo. Additionally, users could also use this same sensor to capture black and white stills with better dynamic range than, say, using a standard black and white filter. Apart from colored or monochrome, the P9 Plus has different shooting modes depending on what the situation calls for. There's HDR, light painting, slow motion, and even beauty video. It shoots a maximum of 12 megapixel photos and full HD 1080p videos. Missing in the list is actually a 4K video recording. Since it concentrates on imaging, the P9 Plus has full manual controls over its ISO, shutter speed, exposure value, focus, and white balance. It also has 3 film modes, but for us, it's more of a gimmick than the actual tool for mobile photography. Nevertheless, we're glad that they've joined in with other flagships in having full manual access to the camera settings. From those shots, we could definitely agree that Huawei stepped up in its imaging capabilities with the help of Leica. With the German brand's experience in developing lenses and cameras in general, they were able to give the Chinese manufacturer an edge against most of the flagship phones we currently have today. Obviously, the images produced here were sharp, have good detail, and the colors were lively and most importantly very natural. Its ability to deliver professional level depth of field is also what the company is boasting about with the P9 Plus. This is another feature the dual lens could offer by measuring the depth of the subject from its background and sending it to the phone's dedicated image signal processor. The result, as you can see, is pretty impressive for a camera phone. The P9 Plus also packs a rather large 3400 mAh lithium polymer battery that will typically last us for around 1.5 days on a single full charge. In our PC Mark battery test, the phone lasted 9 hours and 33 minutes at 50% brightness and 0 volume while on airplane mode. That's not much longer than the P9, which we also tested and got 9 hours and 18 minutes on the same test. Overall, we're pretty happy with the P9 Plus. It's got one of the nicest designs in a flagship phone this year. Relatively impressive performance coming from the Kirin 955 in 4GB of RAM. Very strong in the camera department and great overall device for its price category. So that's basically it. We hope we gave you more in-depth details about the P9 Plus and a closer look at most of its core features. Do like this video if you think it's good and consider subscribing to our channel for more videos like this. Once again, this is Abe and see you in the next one.